Hi folks, this is Franco Tanelli and this is Science of Singing, Art of Appoggio step by step. Step 5, Notes above Passaggio or top high notes. For those who are watching this program for the first time, I strongly recommend to go back to all of my programs concerning Appoggio and developing your voice. Without mastering those steps, it's really useless to come here and to try to understand step number 5. So go back and study all the steps step by step. Later on in this program, I'm going to show you some passages from difficult tenor arias like Che gelida manina, Nessun dorma, Celeste Aida and Di quella pira, all in original keys. There are different approaches to master your high notes. One of these approaches is placement approach. Placement approach basically creates a new register and then desperately tries to connect this register to the rest of the voice. Appoggio does not create a new register, it simply supports the high note, because Appoggio singing is one register singing. One big mistake, and this is I just often hear, I don't know where it comes from. High notes can be placed by practicing reinforced falsetto. This is a total ignorance. Those who believe in this, please look at this from the point of the science. I admit that some singers who maybe mix mezza voce with falsetto may have the same understanding. But mezza voce is not a reinforced falsetto. Reinforced falsetto is a technically totally different sound from the sound which we are acquiring. If you don't know the difference between falsetto and mezza voce, you can visit my videos where I clearly talk about the difference. High notes in Appoggio way is simply continuation of the same register by applying more pressure and balance to your support system. So Appoggio singer achieves his high notes through physical sensation of the moving diaphragm, which balances very unbalanced high notes. We have to come to the balance. And this balance does not come only with physical technique, it comes also with mental technique, because we know that high notes are highly psychological. The psychology of the high note can be compared to the psychology of the equilibrist who is trying to balance his way on a rope in a not a dangerous zone, like just 1 meter above the earth. Or the other one, basically using the same technique of the balance, is trying to cross Niagara Falls. You see, the difference between the good equilibrist and the one who passes over dangerous zones like Niagara Falls is psychological. The singer, in a way, has all technical resources to get his high notes, simply doesn't get there sometimes just because of psychological memory, lack of confidence. And I'm going to talk about this in this program too. All the secrets of the high notes or any beautiful notes are in resonance. So how to keep the resonance without change? As I explained before, your throat keeps unchanged position, which causes unchanged ambience. Like you're sitting in the room. The room has a stable ambience. So that's what the open throat causes, a stable ambience. And then through support you get to the higher notes. On the top you basically are pushing down. You're pushing down, but pushing down without no panic and with the balance. Now, one of the interesting suggestions were made by Beniamino Gili. Beniamino Gili suggested that you make a face of a, because it's a self-redneck simpleton. I can translate it to you. Make a face of a stupid person. You think it's stupid, but it's relaxed. Relax your face. Totally relax your face. And in this relaxation, you have to approach the high note. Beniamino Gili was a psychological singer himself. He could not master his top notes for a long time. And Rosati method, who also taught many other famous singers, including Mario Lanza, was using psychological method to master high notes. He wouldn't tell his student what note he is singing, simply because every vocal student has negative memory about high notes. And the moment they approach it, this memory takes all the confidence from the singer, whether consciously or subconsciously. Therefore, when you don't know, of course you have sensation of singing higher note. No one can really fool you totally. But you might not know that you're singing B flat B or high C if you don't have a perfect pitch. And in that case, it's good that you don't have a perfect pitch, because you will approach this high note without any prejudice, without any previous knowledge, about any previous sensations, about any previous misdoings. And that's by the method of Rosati. Beniamino Gili mastered his voice. Of course, we'll be just naive if we think it's just only psychological. It's both. It's psychological and physical. But mental balance is the key to the high note. Because if you're fearful of the high notes, and you know, many people don't even recognize. Among my students, when I see them, it even shows, the face shows that they are scared of this note. They will never, no, I'm not scared. No, maestro. No, I don't fear it. It's just, I don't. And you can clearly see their fear there by the face, by the ear. So it's a subconscious fear. It doesn't matter if you fear them consciously or subconsciously. We all fear high notes. And what causes the fear? Our previous misdoings, our previous experience. So therefore, the approach to the high note should be as fresh as if you've never done it before. And with, of course, the good support, and knowing that you actually have to support this high note without any panic will help you to sing high notes quite easily. It can come so easy that you won't be able even to, wonder about it. Am I doing it right? It's so easy. Anyways, it's not easy, again, for the diaphragm, especially for the young singers. It's important to know that the diaphragm, when you sing the high notes, it's top tension for it. But when you become professional singer, your diaphragm and your support system becomes as solid as rock. And so you don't feel that anymore. Now we're going to move to some examples from, first of all, warming up. And many of you will be surprised. I am posting this low, chesty exercises in a program that is supposed to teach you how to sing high notes. I know, but the thing is, the Appoggio approach is not to warm up some kind of a register. Again, I repeat, it's one register singing. You warm up the whole system. And of course you warm up your voice with chiaroscuro. So you will see these warm-ups, they start quite low. My suggestion is not necessarily to follow what I do, but if you already passed, and you should have, the first and the second step, you should start warming up with Appoggio resonance, with Appoggio zone. Go back and check it out what Appoggio zone is, and slowly get it the whole range. Now for me personally, my Appoggio zone starts around low C, 1 C below the middle C, or B flat. Today my Appoggio zone was in around A, which for the many singers it might be felt that it is a baritone warm-up, but it's not a baritone warm-up, I'm a tenor. You need to warm up with chiaroscuro sound, absolutely. And for that you need somebody to tell you if you do have chiaroscuro, because you might have a sensation of some sort, and recordings lie, so you won't be able alone to determine if you're singing with chiaroscuro. If you sing with this with chiaroscuro, you slowly warming up your Appoggio zone. There are many exercises that I will not show you today, just giving an idea. And then when you're ready, you go to more fast exercises and covering all the range. The approach is the same: support, support, support. Don't try to place your voice anywhere. Try to slowly get to the high zone. But by now you should be able to do it. It means that you're probably in at least third year of learning Appoggio. If you're a professional singer, and you might be a professional singer singing operas, you find that you're not quite Appoggio, and you want to get real Appoggio technique, you have to, like anybody else, start from the zero, to rediscover your natural placement and to develop it according to Appoggio rules. That's the only way for anybody. Of course, a professional singer will probably need around 1 year to readjust his technique. Those who really start learning Appoggio, it could take normally from 5 to 7 years if you're doing it right. Like any studying of the instrument, voice is not less, from 5 to 7 years. For a professional singer who readjusting his voice and doesn't want to sing with registers anymore, or feels like he is not supporting very well, he has to go back to the step 1, because his discoveries were wrong. Also, you will hear right now some difficult passages of the high notes, high C's, high B's and high B flats from challenging operatic tenor arias. Now you hear a lot that covering is like almost unquestionable. I'm telling you that the covering is such a confusive term that we should probably abandon it totally. One of the reasons, because covering technique has different meaning depending on the teacher you study with. So there's no way we can have one and absolutely gorgeous definition of covering. As you know, there are two types of covering. You know it from my previous lectures, I explained it, but I repeat, two types of covering. The covering with a slight modification of the vowel without placement change. What you do simply, you just change R into O, but the placement is the same. This is preferable covering for me. It's not pure Appoggio, but it is very close to it. The other one is the placement type, is that you actually find a placement for this particular resonance. It disconnects your voice, it's not one register singing, and it's often without good support. So that is not recommendable. Poiché ha preso stanza la dolce speranza in cielo, in cielo. This was Franco Tenelli, Art of Appoggio Step by Step, Step 5, Mastering High Notes. Thank you very much, and until next time.